your child was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes, they might have said something like, the hemoglobin A1C was blank. Or you might have heard of people refer to their A1C as being blank. Or you may never have heard of the term, which is also okay. So an A1C is an interesting marker that doctors and healthcare professionals use to gauge what the blood sugar control has been. And what it is an average about 3-month blood sugar in most people. What happens is that sugar molecules attach to red blood cells. And red blood cells on average have a 90-day or 3-month lifespan. And so you can then measure how much sugar is on these cells and come up with a guesstimate of what your blood sugar may have been. So our goal in type 1 diabetes is to try to shoot for a hemoglobin A1C of 7%. In young children, we may be a little more flexible and go to 7.5%. And who came up with 7%? It's the American Diabetes Association. And how did they come up with this? Well, they looked at large studies done over the past several decades and determined that this is a good goal to minimize long-term consequences of having high blood sugars and to help people achieve good health. Okay? So typically diabetes mellitus is diagnosed with an A1C above 6.5%. And usually when someone's diagnosed with new onset diabetes, the A1C is much, much higher. It's not unheard of to be 14, 15%, maybe somewhere, but usually 10 or greater. Not always, usually. It will very quickly start to come down, and that's what's important. Now, I want to emphasize that we typically check A1Cs every 2 to 3 months. And it gets very easy to get fixated on this number and think that everything about you or the child or the individual is about an A1C, okay? Much like we think about weight or so, or height. And that is not the case, okay? Please do not equate A1C with the self-worth of a person with diabetes. They're not the same. There are a lot of factors that go into what an A1C may be, and it's simply a guidepost to get us to where we need to be. Throughout one's journey with this chronic condition, there'll be ups and downs. A1Cs may be above target or below target. We never think of them as being good or bad. We think of them as being in range or within target or above target. And really, a large part of diabetes, as you will hear me talk about, is just sort of the psychosocial aspect of it and the mindset that we bring to it. So this is a double-edged sword. It's really important for us to know what an A1C is and to use it as a gauge of blood sugar control, but it's important not to become so enamored by it or be all consumed by it.